Corona team. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Or should I say ladies and germs?
You should.
Ladies and bacteria.
Actually, you should probably say men and germs because I looked at our analytics. We have 100% male viewers.
Oh, well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Should probably think about turning my lights off and getting camera set and all that kind of shit before we start the show. But, man, we've got an awfully stout title going right there. Did these movies predict coronavirus?
Spoiler alert.
They kind of did.
Sort of. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, while watching these movies, it was kind of like turning on to CNN.
Yeah, it made me a little bit more nervous about what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah. It's like, this shit could kill Matt Damon.
Yeah,
what fucking chance do we have?
Yeah. If it took out Rene Russo, and Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, before Me Too Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Spacey in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before he was.
Speaking of which, what's going on with all that hamburger meat he had up here, dude?
Dude, I don't know.
Did you notice that? That is a hairy fucking fellow.
Gross.
Yeah.
Fucking gross. I'm glad he died. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Jesus.
Well, I mean, I think now you can say that.
You glad he raped those kids too?
Jesus. You can't say that.
I'm just asking.
The views expressed by him do not reflect the views expressed by me. Thank you. Jesus. Steven is echoing just a bit. Oh, shit. Is that better?
It's probably because I had my speakers up a pretty decent amount. But yeah, real quick, shout out Bob Shorkey. He's always in here on time. That's what we like here on the Two Guys in a Trailer channel, is punctuality over just about anything.
Yeah.
So we got.
He did say he was only here for the giveaways, but
I'll
take it.
Yeah, either way it goes, hey, however we got to get it.
I think about the only thing we could give away right now is
coronavirus.
Like,
that would mean one of us would have to be infected.
I have some news. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh-oh.
I would almost do it for the views.
What, contract coronavirus?
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean,
statistically, I'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. At least you're not in the demographic of people that are dropping dead from it.
I mean, statistically, I'll be fine, but knowing my luck, like, my fucking dick will stop working or something.
That's what I said that literally brought my daughter to tears last night. Is like, knowing my luck, I would be the one guy that said, this is not going to be anything major. It's going to blow over in a couple of months. But knowing my luck, I would be the one that gets it and dies from it.
Oh, yeah.
And that literally brought my daughter to tears, so I felt like an asshole. So, anyways, what do we want to start with? We want to start with Contagion or Outbreak?
Whichever one. They're pretty much... It's almost... I don't know. I think it's going to be more fun when we talk about the comparison between the two. That's probably where we're going to spend the majority of the time. So, whichever one you want to start with.
I've got it written down, Contagion, then Outback on the list. So,
Outback?
Outback. I'm thinking about Bloomin' Onions, man.
Outback was a movie with Crocodile Dundee.
As a steakhouse, I rate it as a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, dude, I'd give it like a 3.
Really?
Yeah, I've had
Outback?
experiences at Outback.
Dude, have you ever had those Kookaburra wings they have?
Mm-mm. I've had the steak, and the steak is subpar.
Well, those Kookaburra wings on their appetizer menu, pretty damn good.
All right. Speaking of Kookaburra wings, Contagion. Contagion came out in 2011.
Talked about Kookaburra wings.
I don't know. Came out in 2011. Directed by Steven Soderbergh. Stars Marion Cotillard. I don't know how to say that name. Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Winslet. Hell of a fucking cast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Runtime of about 106 minutes.
Mhm.
Budget of $60 million with a box office return of $135.5 million, making it a success.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
brief synopsis. Basically, it predicted the coronavirus.
Absolutely. Like, almost glaringly to a T.
Yeah, I mean, like, this one is insane. Like, it's about a virus that originated
In China.
In China, or was it China or Hong Kong?
Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong. So
Same thing.
Same shit. And it spreads from there to the States, and from there it goes global, and a bunch of people fucking die. There's quarantines. It literally looks like you're watching the news.
It does. It's shocking.
But I don't know. What were your thoughts on it? Did you like the movie?
I liked it, man. I thought it was. I thought it had that story was set out explained how the fuck it got there, because up until the last 2 minutes of the movie, you still had no idea where it actually came from, how it all happened. What the? Oh my God.
What happened?
Viewers will experience. Why does it do this when we go live? Anyways,
the stream looks good right now. I'm watching it.
Okay, so in the last 2 minutes, it showed the bats flying out of this thing, out of this tree that's being knocked over by the company that Gwyneth Paltrow works for, because she was there for a groundbreaking ceremony. The bat flies into a warehouse where there's a pig. It drops something on the floor. The pig eats it. They sell the pig to the restaurant that she happens to be eating at the casino, and shows how the virus came to be. Like how it got from 0.1 to patient 0 in just literally 2 minutes of how it all happened. How this all started. And it all could have been avoided if the dude had washed his fucking hands before he left out of the kitchen. Like that
really just rubs them on his fucking apron.
That is the craziest part to me, is like, all of this could have been avoided had you just washed your fucking hands, you filthy son of a bitch.
Well, I guess it could have, but he was probably about to serve that pig. So I don't know if the virus would have lived,
No, I think the virus would have been killed once you cook the animal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't know how that would work. But I love the way that they waited to show how it happened until the very end.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of trying to figure out, like, okay, well, where did this fucking come from?
Yeah.
And if they would have just showed you towards the beginning, like, imagine if the ending scene was the opening scene.
It would have never been as interesting to find out the ending.
Yeah. Like, if a movie is going to explain everything to you, like, that's the way to do it. Like, have the intrigue for 99% of the movie, and then the last 1%.
Explanation.
Explain it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just hate movies that hold your hand and spoon feed you all the information.
Yeah. Well, when it's drawn out like that.
Right. But, like, so the story of the movie, even though it is, like, it's set to where it's super realistic now.
Yeah.
But the story of the movie, where it, like, focuses on these few central main characters, I really like the way it handled that. Because I think if it only followed, like, Matt Damon's character, this movie gets really boring real quick.
Oh,
or if it just focuses on Kate Winslet's character, this movie gets boring real quick. But the way that it constantly flips back and forth, then you have Jude Law's character, which is like a guy that is promoting this homeopathic cure that he also has investments
a financial stake in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how shit like that works.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, And I could see that happening, right? I could see a personality like that saying that they found the fucking cure for coronavirus and people fucking buying that shit. I could totally believe
Yeah,
that happening.
absolutely.
People are fucking panicking right now. And that's the thing about this movie is like the tagline is nothing spreads like fear, right? Once you have this something like this and the panic and all the shit that we're seeing right now, people are pretty much willing to buy anything, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but what
I
what
thought
would
it
you
was a
rate it?
really, really good movie. I thought it was shot well. It was framed well. The story was carried very well. Um, it wasn't, look, here's the difference between this is the kind of differences you get here on Two Guys in a Trailer that you don't get on other places, right? You've got Steven, who enjoys cinematography and storytelling and how the movie's framed and this and this and this. I like dumb shit like dick jokes and punches in the ear, right? So this was not my favorite movie of the two. I think that would have had to go into Outbreak. But all things considered, I think the storytelling was much better in Contagion than it was in Outbreak. And for that, I think I'm going to have to give this movie, I'm going to have to give it a solid 4.
Okay.
I think it's a solid 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
Okay.
I think the storytelling in this movie is really good. The pacing is really good. The cinematography is really good. This movie is shot really fucking well, like really well. The director Steven Soderbergh, he does a lot of really great movies. But yeah, I think it's a 4. It's to me, it's better than Outbreak, and we'll get into that after we talk about Outbreak because I'm sure, like I said, we're
You
gonna
better
compare these
give
movies.
Outbreak a 4, dude.
Huh?
Anyways.
Outbreak's not gonna get a 4 for me.
Oh, bullshit, dude.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think it's a really good pandemic movie. I mean, maybe I'd give it a higher score if it wasn't so fucking realistic right now. But I don't know. I think it's about as good of a pandemic movie as you can have.
Contagion went past pandemic into full blown epidemic mode, though.
Yeah, which is essentially a fucking documentary right now.
Exactly.
This is almost like National Treasure level documentary.
It's pretty damn close, dude. Like, Nick Cage is really close to getting the declaration.
No, dude.
It's just how it is.
Yeah. That's probably where the cure for the coronavirus is.
Yeah, it's hidden in the under the church at Wall Street and what was it?
Wall and I don't know. I need to rewatch. I need to brush up on my history.
Here at the Wall.
And it was like between two.
Yeah, it was in between two. Maybe it was Wall Street and Fifth. I don't fucking remember. Yeah, Trinity Church. That's where it was. Trinity Church.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe it's down there in the ethers of Trinity Church. But
wow, everybody in chat is talking about how they're not at work anymore.
Lucky bastards.
That's crazy.
Dude, I went to the grocery store this morning with Scott. And I don't even know what we went in there to get. But, man, it was so strange seeing certain things just completely wiped out. Toilet paper, good luck. Paper towels, gone. Hand sanitizer, non-existent. Isopropyl alcohol, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Even the little boxes that have the individual cotton alcohol swabs, gone. It's just so weird. Like, no water anywhere. Yeah. Bottled water, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And then you go into Walmart, and it's the same thing.
Dude, try looking at Amazon Prime. Like Prime Pantry, you can get about 5 things, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. And that's kind of what this movie captures, I think, better than Outbreak did. Is like the real ramifications of something like this. So, but what about Outbreak? What I guess I need to get some background on it, huh?
Yeah, that would be good. This one also had a fucking star-studded cast.
Yeah, so this movie Outbreak came out in 1995. Before I get into it, Contagion, somebody asked if it was available on Netflix or something. Contagion is not available on Netflix or Hulu or any of the streaming sites.
It is on Hulu, but you have to have
The
the
Stars or Cinemax
Cinemax, I think it is.
add-on. Yeah. So it's not available to stream for free anywhere, but like if you have workarounds, you have workarounds, which is also an interesting thing we'll talk about in a little bit. But both of these movies have soared in streaming and downloads in the past week. So anyway, Outbreak, 1995, when this movie came out, directed by Wolfgang Peterson, starring Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, Morgan Freeman, Donald Sutherland, Cuba Gooding Jr., Patrick Dempsey, and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
So,
tons.
And again, this is like pre-bad Kevin Spacey. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he was bad here or not, but we didn't know about it.
Yeah, it was before we knew about, Me Too.
Yeah. Budget of $50 million, box office returns $189.8 million. So a resounding
smashing success. Yeah. Well, with that many fucking stars, it's got to be good.
Oh yeah. Runtime of 128 minutes. And it's classified as an American medical disaster film.
Which started in. This one started in Africa.
Yeah.
And this one is available for stream on Netflix right now. And speaking of that, this movie, Outbreak in particular, because it's available on Netflix, went from not even close to a top 10 movie to a top 10 movie in literally 2 weeks. So this thing has just flown up in popularity here recently. But I think there's a good reason for it. Not only does it show, let me tell the people what you said when we first got in here and started chatting.
I predicted that he would like this movie more than Contagion, whereas I like Contagion more than this movie. And the reasons being the underlying story between both.
Yeah.
Right. So in this film, it has more of a
government
sinister undertone.
Yeah.
Than Contagion. Contagion is more of like, okay, this is a virus that occurred and it was spread naturally, and that's what happened. In this film, there's a virus that the government knew about, and they resynthesized it into a biological weapon that they could use. And there was an outbreak of that virus, essentially. Right? So,
yeah. Why am I on top chat?
That's kind of, we'll have to get into it, but that's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting movie and it's fun to watch. It's entertaining. But to me, this movie versus Contagion is like the difference between superhero movies now versus like the very first Spider-Man movie. They're two completely different tones.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you turn on fucking Avengers Endgame, it's a gritty fucking movie. Right? It as realistic as a movie like that can be. Whereas you turn on the first Spider-Man and it's like the opening fucking song is fucking Nickelback, fucking Hero and Tobey Maguire. It's like, it's just two totally different fucking movies. Same as like an action movie today, John Wick versus an 80s action movie. It's just tonally two different movies.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the interesting thing about these two movies, how they approach the same subject in two completely different ways.
Well, one of them shows the social. Contagion is more of the social side, and Outbreak handles much more of the government run side, as far as like how our military is equipped to handle things like this, and some of the lengths that the government may go to to kind of hide something like this. You know, now granted, this one was set before the internet was a thing and before everybody had a cell phone in their pocket, and it was all, 99% of what you got was either local television news or print, newspapers, things like that. So it was very, it was framed in a very different time, but like Steven said, it kind of approached the same thing with a little bit different, a much different tone to it, just because this is something that, we're talking about the CDC, we're talking about the United States Army, we're talking about the U.S. federal government, things like that, and how the steps they would go through to kind of handle something like this. The hardest part of this movie for me to believe out of anything was that they found two people to get in a fucking aircraft carrier and knowingly drop a non-nuclear device on American citizens, right? I don't think they would have gone to that length. I think that was just kind of adding to the drama. But, like I told Steven, I think the way they probably would have handled it would be the most visually humane way, is to just let them get infected and die. If we can't figure out a cure and we can't expend all these resources on isolating everybody, then we kind of got to let nature take its course and just make sure that it's quarantined into this one area and it doesn't get out by any means necessary.
28 days later, that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few things that were hyper unrealistic, like dropping a fucking bomb in the middle of a town in California.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue with the movie. As much as it is an entertaining film, it's a good film. The last act, it's like you have to suspend all reality.
Yeah.
Like, it goes from being somewhat kind of not even realistic, but kind of realistic, to like, okay, this is kind of insane.
But still very believable.
Believable, that the idea is believable.
Yeah.
But like the execution, like some of the way things go in that movie, like they're in a fucking hospital and they've got a fucking infectious disease ward where they're keeping all the patients, and they don't think to check like that the air vents are fucking shut off that go to the rest of the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
But without
some of the stuff he did was kind of ridiculous.
You also got to think, when's the last time that hospital had 100 people in there with a highly infectious disease, with the CDC rolling in complete level 4 hazmat suits?
Right. But once you get to that point, I think they're going to be like, we need to make sure everything's sealed up.
Yeah. But there's also, they realize that happened the first day on the ground. The guys from the military and the CDC, they kind of figured that out right off the bat and then immediately fixed it. I can see a hospital administrator in a very small town like that overlooking something like that when they're dealing with 100 people in and out at one time with something that they don't know what the hell it is. They just know there's bodies stacking up back here and y'all better send some help. I don't know who y'all are, but somebody needs to get their ass out here. Right?
Yeah.
So I could see something like that getting overlooked. But if it hadn't got overlooked, they would have never figured out that it was airborne.
Yeah. So eventually they would have figured it out.
Well, yeah, but that made it a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah. I think this is just the problem with me for the movie is like, this is a quintessential 90s movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the protagonist is all knowing.
Yeah.
For some reason. He's the most.
Well, because it's Morgan Freeman and he's fucking Jesus.
Well, I'm talking fucking Dustin Hoffman.
Oh.
He fucking knows everything in this movie. Like, even if it's by accident, he fucking figures out everything. And then you get to a point like that last act, like they're fucking stealing a helicopter, like flying across the, like it just loses all of the believability that it tried to establish for the first 2/3 of the movie, it's like all gone out the fucking window in the last act. For me.
I don't know. I think Rambo, the original Rambo, was a pretty believable movie. And that required a large suspension of reality.
It was definitely a realistic movie. I don't necessarily think it's believable like the last act.
Well, the thing that puts it out there is, right, the thing that puts not too fine a point on it is the placement of Dustin Hoffman's character in the chain of command, right? He's a colonel. There's not a fucking an E5 on the planet that's going to look at a colonel and say, hey, you can't get in that fucking helicopter.
Yeah.
There's not a single one. You know, like the guy at the Air Force Base that says, dude, I can't do that. This is going to cost me my stripes. And he says, it's going to cost you your ass if you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, what is he to do? This was a command from him. I was doing what I was told. I was following instructions, right?
I get that. I just don't think there'd ever be a situation.
I don't think that aircraft would have been in the air in the first place.
Right.
Right. So you have to believe, and that's a big stretch for somebody like me who has a massive distrust for the government. Like, you got to kind of believe that they would do that. And I don't think they would. Well, let me put it this way. I don't believe there is a president that would, by executive action, allow a weapon of that degree to be dropped on American citizens.
No.
I think they would just say, hey, we got to be as humane as we can. We got to make these people as comfortable as we can, and then come back and scoop up fucking bodies, you know?
Yeah.
And then whenever everybody's gone and everybody's dead out of that city, we just burn it to the ground, bulldoze it, and make fucking Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, wipe over the whole thing.
Like I said, to me, like, that is the issue with the movie.
Yeah.
It's just the two different tones. I prefer, in this type of movie, this type of film, I like the more realistic, I guess.
Yeah. It was slightly goofy. There was some jokes. There was, some suspension of belief, shit like that. So I get it. But all in all, I thought this was a better movie. I feel like it had a better cast.
Better than Matt Damon?
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Have you ever met Cuba Gooding Jr.? Quite possibly the best actor on the planet. Second only to Forrest Whitaker.
I mean, I guess we're not counting Snow Dogs.
Nobody ever said anything about that. You leave that out of there.
I think that docks a couple of fucking points off.
Well, whatever, man.
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne is in Contagion, Matrix.
Yeah. Well, Cuba Gooding Jr. also did a movie with Tim Allen. Tim Allen is the best on the planet.
I mean, agree to disagree.
Have you ever seen Tool Time?
Yeah.
This is an American classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an American classic.
It's decent. I don't think it would hold up.
Yeah, well.
What would you rate Outbreak?
I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm gonna go with a 4 because it's just different style. You know, you got to watch this one through a different scope.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay, so not too far off.
Not too far off.
I can live with that.
Like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. It's just, for me, that it's the tone. The tone of the movie makes it less enjoyable for me. Like, the last act devolves into a fucking 90s action film that requires a complete suspension of disbelief. So that doesn't work for me when you've set out to kind of create this believable scenario and then just, I don't know, Rambo your way through the last act. But it's still entertaining. It's a good film.
Yeah. Pretty good flick. Speaking of pretty good flicks, I did watch a couple more the other day. And one of them is a brand new title on Netflix. And I think I'm going to put that up for nomination for next week. Spencer Confidential
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
with Mark Wahlberg and shit. I think he was the only person of note in there. I think Mark Maron is in it. But it's got Post Malone. It's a pretty fun fucking movie, man. It's pretty fun.
Let's do that one then.
Yeah, we'll do that one and pick something else. There's a lot of new shit on Netflix that I've never seen or heard of or anything like that. Let me pull up the flicks of net right quick, and we'll do we can do a 2-part Netflix special next week.
That'll work. Also, just to bring it up, yeah. So these two movies, Contagion and Outbreak, they've soared like downloads, streaming, renting over the last week. Both of them, like Contagion, has topped the fucking charts, and this was a movie released in fucking 2011. So it kind of begs the question, you know, I guess during a pandemic or epidemic like this, people seek, I guess, maybe comfort in seeing a film about it. I don't understand why you would want to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to watch a movie that's depicting like the worst case scenario of the thing you're currently experiencing?
I don't know, man. I see a lot of value in it. I
I
see a
mean,
lot
I
of
guess
value
like
in it.
preparing yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to. I'll tell you this: in the last 10 years of my life, I can count on one hand how many times I've used hand sanitizer and probably still have a couple of fingers left over in the past 10 years. Today alone, I used it at minimum 5 times.
Oh yeah.
I've washed my hands more in the past 2 days after watching these two films than I probably should admit to. So,
Yeah.
hopefully it, watching something like this sheds light on something like this, how bad it actually can be to, bring light to like, hey, we for real got to get this shit under check.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that, there it's apparently a phenomenon. You have something like this happen and people seek out movies that depict it. To me, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like being on the Titanic and streaming Titanic. I personally wouldn't do it, man.
Yeah, I don't think the new Titanic is supposed to set sail like I don't know what it was, like 40 years exactly to the day after the old Titanic set sail. Like it's
Oh,
going to
really?
follow. Oh, it's going to follow the same course, the same route, same destination, same port of departure, whole 9 yards.
Dude, so you know that this is kind of going to affect what we do a little bit on this channel, this whole coronavirus thing. They've fucking suspended like all release of movies.
Yeah,
Like the fucking brand new James Bond that was coming out, that's getting pushed back. A Quiet Place 2 was supposed to be opening this weekend. It's getting pushed back. They're fucking shutting shit down, man. It's crazy.
well, the good thing is Netflix probably has a bunch of shit in the queue that they're going to push forward
Oh yeah.
and release because they literally make their own content now. So,
Yep.
uh,
You're still looking at Netflix to find us another movie?
yeah, have we done? I don't know.
I know one of my favorite movies of all time is on Netflix right now.
Which is
Zodiac.
Zodiac, huh? Well, we can't do that because then we know we'll get at least a 9.5 out of it.
Yeah, probably a 10.
It's not a 10 for me.
It's a 5 for me.
It's definitely a 4.5, but it has a one of my pet peeve, fucking bugaboo, whatever you want to call it, that it's shot very, very dark. So
Yeah.
it's not one of my most pleasurable things to watch.
I think that's probably my favorite Fincher film. That and Seven.
7 is a ridiculously good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, absurdly good.
Speaking of Kevin Spacey, that's probably the best bad guy on film.
What about American Beauty?
American Beauty.
Did you like American Beauty?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Thought so too. There is that's a season. I was looking at one. What was it called? Let me go back up here. It's in the popular on Netflix category. Well, fuck. Which one was it? Polaroid. Seen Polaroid?
Somebody just said that in chat. TJ said something about it. He said weird movie.
Okay, let's do that one then.
Okay.
I don't know what it's about, but it's got a chick screaming on the front with a Polaroid picture coming out. So let's write this down in the book for next week. That way we know and I don't forget.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
Looks like this is going to be a horror film.
Slightly.
Which, as we know, I fucking love.
Yep.
Oh, well. So we'll be doing next week Spencer Confidential and Polaroid. Both available on Netflix. Something to do while you were quarantined, waiting for the sweet, warm embrace of death.
Sweet, warm embrace of coronavirus.
Dude, I'm there. Like, to me, this only goes one of two ways. Either it's overblown and everyone's fine, or we're all going to die. Like, there is no middle ground for me.
I think we're going to lose 1/10 of the world's population.
That would be insane. Spanish flu was 1%.
Worldwide.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's fucking nuts. And I mean, I know people are probably like done with the coronavirus.
Well,
like,
polio killed 25%, killed off 25% of the world's population.
Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn. I know, well, like I was saying, I think people are probably done with coronavirus. And we're not going to talk about it every week. Like, it's just I wanted to do these two movies because I watched Contagion. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is like literally a precursor to exactly what happened. It's like clearly people were, and then you go and look back and you see that like the CDC has been warning about a possible outbreak from China. They have these wet markets and all this shit. And it's like, dude, it fucking happened. Now, I guess the best we can hope for is that after we recover, if we recover, that China has a little bit more stricter fucking regulations on those markets and stuff.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's not like their government's corrupt or anything. We should be fine.
No. Anyways, on that note, the Chinese government's now looking at us. So thanks a lot, Stephen. And thank you
Two Guys in a Trailer is no longer able to be streamed to all of our Chinese fans.
Yeah. All one of you.
We're a fucking global phenomenon. And we just got our audience viewership cut down in like half.
Big facts. But that's what we've got for this week. We will see you guys next week. We love you all. And bye.
Don't die.
Oh, such an idiot.
At least wait until it's done.